Touch him, and I'll break your arm." The words came out of Amara's mouth before her brain could catch up. Ji-woo froze, the heavy marble bookend raised above her head, her face twisted in fury. Below her, Min-jun was curled on the floor, his small hands covering his head. "What did you just say to me?" Amara's heart hammered against her ribs, but she didn't move. "You heard me. You work for me. You're nothing. You're about to call the police if you don't put that down right now." The bookend came down anyway. Amara lunged, grabbing Ji-woo's wrist mid-swing. The impact sent them both stumbling. The marble hit the floor with a crack that echoed through the library, missing Min-jun's head by inches. "You insane bitch!" Ji-woo wrenched her arm free, her designer sleeve tearing at the shoulder. "Do you have any idea what you've just done? Stopped you from killing a child? Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea. He's not your concern. These children are mine to discipline as I see fit. Their uncle left me in charge, and you're just the help who's about to lose her job and a lot more. Is that what we're calling child abuse now? Discipline?" Seo-yeon appeared in the doorway, pulling her younger sister Ji-ah behind her. Both girls had identical expressions of terror. "Run," Amara said, not breaking eye contact with Ji-woo. "All three of you, find Mr. Kim. Now." They ran. Ji-woo's laugh was sharp, brittle. "Mr. Kim, the driver? You think some chauffeur is going to protect you from me, from this family? I think anyone with a functioning moral compass would have a problem with what I just watched." "Moral compass." Ji-woo smoothed her hair back, her composure sliding into place like armor. "How naive. You have no idea how this world works. No idea who you're dealing with. Then educate me." The voice came from behind Ji-woo, low and controlled, carrying the kind of authority that made everyone in the room go still. A man stood in the doorway, tall, early 30s, dressed in a black driver's uniform that somehow looked more expensive than Ji-woo's designer outfit. His face was unremarkable at first glance, the kind of face you'd forget in a crowd. But his eyes weren't forgettable. They were cold, calculating, dangerous. "Mr. Kim." Ji-woo's voice had changed completely. Higher, nervous. "This doesn't concern you. The nanny overstepped and I saw what happened." He stepped into the library and Amara noticed how he moved, like water, like violence waiting for an excuse. "You tried to hit a 6-year-old with a marble bookend. He was throwing a tantrum, breaking things, completely out of control. So you decided to cave his skull in. Don't be dramatic. I was simply assaulting a child in my house while I watched through the security system." He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen twice. "Would you like to see the footage? I have excellent angles." The color drained from Ji-woo's face. "Your house? What are you talking about? This is the Choi family estate. You're the driver." "Am I?" The silence stretched too long. Amara could hear her own heartbeat, could feel the shift in the air as something fundamental changed in the room. "Who are you?" Ji-woo whispered. "That's an interesting question. Who do you think I am?" "Stop playing games. You've worked here for 3 months. You're nobody. You're Choi Dae-jung, owner of this estate, legal guardian of those 3 children, and the younger brother of the man you were supposed to marry before he died in that convenient car accident 6 months ago." His smile was razor thin. "Did I miss anything?" Ji-woo stumbled backward. "That's impossible. Choi Dae-jung is in Busan, running the overseas operations. Everyone knows. Everyone knows what I wanted them to know, including you." He moved closer, and Ji-woo retreated until her back hit the wall. "Did you really think I wouldn't investigate my brother's death? That I wouldn't question why his fiancée was so eager to stay in this house, so insistent on maintaining control of his children? I loved Hyun-sik. You loved his money. his connections, his position in the family business. Dae-jung's voice never rose above conversational, but it cut like a blade. What you didn't count on was me actually caring about those kids, or being smart enough to come home and watch you myself. Amara's mind was racing. The driver was the brother. The brother was the owner. The owner had been undercover in his own house for 3 months, and she'd had no idea. "You're insane," Ji-woo said, but her voice shook. "The family approved me. The elders wanted me to stay, to help raise the children, to maintain stability. The elders wanted to keep our business relationship with your father intact. They don't care about you, and they definitely don't care about 3 orphaned kids who are now inconvenient reminders of their dead son." He pulled out his phone again. "But I do, which is why I've spent the last 3 months documenting everything. Every phone call, every meeting, every moment of cruelty you thought no one was watching. You can't prove anything. Can't I? Should we start with the recordings of you discussing how to eliminate the children problem with my competitors? Or maybe the financial documents showing you've been embezzling from their trust funds? Or perhaps the texts with your actual boyfriend planning to kidnap GA and hold her for ransom once you secured your position?" He paused. "I have options." Ji-woo's face cycled through several emotions: fear, rage, calculation. Then she settled on something Amara recognized: desperation pretending to be confidence. "Fine. You have evidence, but if you expose me, you expose your family's business dealings, the connections to my father, the money laundering operations that your precious brother set up. You'll destroy everything he built. My brother built a house of cards on corruption and violence. I'm happy to watch it burn if it means protecting those kids." "You're bluffing. The Choi family doesn't sacrifice profit for sentiment." "Then you don't know me at all." He looked at Amara for the first time. "You're bleeding." She touched her temple, surprised to find wetness. The bookend must have grazed her when she grabbed Ji-woo's wrist. "I'm fine." "You're not. But you're brave. Stupidly, dangerously brave." He turned back to Ji-woo. "Get out. This is my home. This was never your home. You have 30 minutes to pack a bag. My security team will escort you off the property. If you come back, if you contact those children, if you so much as drive past this house, I will release every piece of evidence I have to the police, the media, and most importantly, your father's business rivals." His smile was ice. "Test me. The elders won't allow this. The family will fall in line once I show them what you really are. Now get out of my sight before I forget I'm trying to be civilized." Ji-woo looked at Amara, and for a moment, pure hatred blazed in her eyes. "You have no idea what you've done, no idea what he is. You think you saved those children? You just dragged them into something so much worse. Out. Now." Ji-woo left, her heels clicking down the hallway like gunshots. If you're already hooked by this story, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you don't want to miss how this unfolds. We've got more incredible stories like this coming your way every week. Now, let's get back to the chaos. The moment she was gone, Dae-jung's entire posture changed. The cold authority melted into something that looked almost like exhaustion. "Are you really okay?" he asked Amara. "I'll live." "Are you really Choi Dae-jung?" "Unfortunately." "Why didn't you just fire her? Why go undercover in your own house for 3 months?" "Because I needed evidence. Because my family's business operates in gray areas that don't respond well to accusations without proof. Because if I'd just thrown her out, she would have disappeared, and I'd never know who else was involved in my brother's death." He ran a hand through his hair. "And because I needed to know if anyone in this house actually gave a damn about those kids beyond a paycheck." The implication hung in the air between them. "You were testing the staff," Amara said slowly. "I was looking for allies. I found one." He headed for the door. The children are in the East Garden with my actual security team. You should go to them. They're probably terrified. Wait, what happens now? Now I clean up my brother's mess. Make sure Jiwoo and whoever she's working with can't hurt those kids. Figure out how to be a guardian to 3 traumatized children when I barely know how to keep myself alive. He paused. You should know, things are about to get complicated. Dangerous. If you want to leave, I'll pay you for 6 months and write a reference that'll get you any job in the city. And if I stay, then you're choosing to step into a war zone. My family's business isn't clean. The people who want to hurt those kids won't stop just because Jiwoo is gone. You'll be a target by association. Amara thought about Minjun's small body curled on the floor. Seo Yeon's 2 old eyes, Jia's quiet tears. I'm staying. Why? Because someone should give a damn about those kids beyond a paycheck. Something shifted in his expression, not quite a smile, but close. Okay then. Let's go tell them they're safe, at least for today. 3 weeks earlier, Amara had thought the hardest part of taking this job would be adjusting to the lifestyle of the ultra-wealthy. She'd been catastrophically wrong. The interview had been strange from the start. Not in an office, but in a coffee shop in Itaewon. The agency representative had been vague about the family, mentioning only that they were very private and recently bereaved. The pay is exceptional, the woman had said, sliding a contract across the table. But the position requires full-time residence. You'd live on the estate with 1 day off per week. The family values discretion above all else. Amara had looked at the salary figure and felt her stomach drop. It was triple what she'd been making at her previous job. Enough to clear her mother's medical debt in 6 months instead of 6 years. What's the catch? No catch. The family simply requires someone capable of managing 3 children under difficult circumstances. The previous nannies found the situation too emotionally challenging. How many previous nannies? 5. In the last 6 months. That should have been her first warning. But Amara needed the money. Needed it desperately. So she'd signed the contract, packed her bag, and tried not to think about what emotionally challenging might actually mean. The estate appeared gradually as the car wound up the private road in Gangnam. Stone walls, iron gates, a sprawling modern mansion that looked like it cost more than a small country, blending traditional Hanok elements with contemporary design. Park Hye-jin, the head housekeeper, met her at the service entrance. Late 50s, silver hair pulled back severely, eyes that catalogued everything. You're the new nanny, 6th one in 6 months. Let's see if you last longer than the others. What happened to them? Couldn't handle the children. Couldn't handle Miss Jiwoo. Couldn't handle the atmosphere. Hye-jin started walking, and Amara had to hurry to keep up. The children are 9, 7, and 5. Seo Yeon, Minjun, and Jia. Their parents died 6 months ago in a car accident. Their uncle is their legal guardian, but he's rarely here. Business obligations in Busan. Miss Jiwoo, their late father's fiancée, manages the household. She's not their mother. No, but she's insisted on staying to provide stability. The family approved. The children don't have much say in the matter. Something in Hye-jin's tone suggested she had opinions about that arrangement. The children's wing was on the 2nd floor. Bright, expensive, lifeless. Seo Yeon sat at a desk doing homework, her dark hair pulled into a ponytail. She looked up when they entered, her expression carefully neutral. Another one, she said. Seo Yeon, this is Ms. Thompson. She'll be taking care of you and your siblings. For how long? Hopefully longer than the others. The girl studied Amara with unsettling intensity. Miss Jiwoo doesn't like us. None of the nannies stay because they can't handle watching her be cruel and pretending not to notice. Are you going to be different? Hyejin's face went stiff. Seo Yeon. It's okay. Amara said quietly. I'm different. How? I don't pretend not to notice things. Seo-yeon's expression shifted slightly. Not quite a smile, but something close. We'll see. Minjun was in the playroom, building an elaborate structure with blocks. 7 years old, all energy and bright eyes and rapid-fire questions. Hi, are you the new nanny? The last one cried a lot. Miss Ji-woo made her cry. She makes everyone cry except Seo-yeon because Seo-yeon doesn't cry anymore. Do you cry? I cry sometimes, but only at night when no one can hear because Miss Ji-woo says crying is for weak people, and weak people don't survive. Do you think I'm weak? Amara's chest tightened. I think you're 7, and 7-year-olds are allowed to cry whenever they need to. His smile was blinding. Jia was in her room, playing quietly with dolls. 5 years old, painfully shy, watching Amara with huge dark eyes. Hi, sweetheart. Jia didn't respond, just hugged her doll closer. She doesn't talk much anymore, Yejin said softly. Not since the accident. That first week, Amara learned the rhythms of the house. Wake at 6, prepare breakfast, get the children dressed and fed and occupied, keep them quiet when Miss Ji-woo was home. Ji-woo Lee was elegant the way predators are elegant. Beautiful, controlled, dangerous. She spoke to the children in a voice like poisoned honey, sweet on the surface, toxic underneath. Minjun, your table manners are atrocious. Were you raised by animals? Seo-yeon, stop reading so much. No one likes a girl who thinks she's smarter than everyone else. Jia, for God's sake, use your words. You're not a baby anymore. Amara watched it all, cataloging the casual cruelty, the calculated undermining of 3 traumatized children. And she noticed other things, too. The driver who'd been with the family for 3 months, but whom none of the other staff seemed to know well. Mr. Kim, who was always nearby but never intrusive, who watched everything with sharp, assessing eyes, who sometimes looked at the children with an expression that seemed far too personal for hired help. He's odd, that one, Hyejin said one afternoon. Keeps to himself. Very professional, but there's something about him. Like he's always waiting for something. Amara had noticed that too. She'd also noticed how he intervened subtly when Ji-woo was particularly cruel, how he'd accidentally interrupt tense moments, how he seemed to appear whenever the children were in distress. One evening, she found him in the garage, polishing one of the cars. The children were asleep. The house was quiet. Do you have kids? She asked. He looked up, surprised. No. Why? You're good with them, natural. I had a brother. He had kids. I paid attention. He returned to polishing. They're good children. They deserve better than what they're getting. Miss Ji-woo is dangerous. Yes, I know. Something in his tone made her look at him more carefully. How long have you worked here? 3 months, you? 2 weeks. How are you finding it? Complicated, disturbing, wrong. She paused. The last nanny left notes in the children's bookshelf. Warnings about Miss Ji-woo, about things she'd witnessed, about why she finally couldn't stay. Did she say what finally made her leave? She saw Miss Ji-woo lock G.A. in a closet for 4 hours because she spilled juice. The nanny let her out and quit that night. Amara met his eyes. Why do you stay? Because someone needs to. That's not an answer, isn't it? He set down the cloth. Sometimes the only answer is choosing to stand between danger and the people who can't protect themselves, even when it costs you, even when it's impossible, even when you're terrified. Are you terrified? Every single day. The honesty in his voice surprised her. I'm terrified too, she admitted, but I can't leave them. Then I guess we're both idiots. His smile was quick, genuine. The good kind, though. That conversation had been 3 days ago. Now, walking through the garden toward three frightened children, Amara realized she'd been working alongside Choi Dae-jung for 2 weeks without knowing it. The brother, the guardian, the man who'd gone undercover in his own house to protect his family. The children were huddled together on a bench, surrounded by two men in dark suits, who Amara now understood were actual security, not gardeners. The moment they saw her, all three launched themselves forward. Minjun hit her first, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You stopped her. You made her go away." For now, Seo-yeon was more controlled, but her hands gripped Amara's shirt tightly. "Is it true? Is Mr. Kim really our uncle?" "Yes." "Why didn't he tell us?" "That's a question for him." As if summoned, Dae-jung appeared, still in the driver's uniform, looking somehow different now that she knew who he really was. The children turned toward him, uncertain. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I watched instead of protecting you directly. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you lost your parents. I'm sorry for all of it." Ji-ah, who hadn't spoken more than a handful of words since her parents died, whispered something. Everyone went still. "What, sweetheart?" Amara crouched down. "Are you going to leave too?" Ji-ah's voice was barely audible. "Everyone always leaves." Dae-jung knelt in front of her, and something in his expression cracked. "I'm not going anywhere. I promise. Never again. Promise. Promise." Minjun looked between them. "So you're really our uncle, our dad's brother?" "Yes." "Does this mean Miss Ji-woo is really gone?" "Really gone. Forever?" "Forever." The relief on their faces was heartbreaking, but Amara saw something else in Dae-jung's expression, something dark and concerned, and she realized the truth. Ji-woo was gone, but the danger wasn't over, not even close. Whatever was coming next, it was going to be worse. The family reunion dinner was in 3 days. Amara learned this from Park Hee-jin the morning after Ji-woo's removal, when the older woman appeared in the kitchen looking like she'd aged 10 years overnight. "The family doesn't know yet," Hee-jin said quietly, pouring tea with shaking hands. "About Miss Ji-woo, about Mr. Choi revealing himself. They're flying in from Busan for the celebration. The elders, the business partners, the entire extended family. Over 200 people. Celebration of what? The 1-year memorial of Mr. Choi Hyun-shik's death. It's tradition, a gathering to honor the deceased and celebrate the family's continued prosperity despite the loss. Miss Ji-woo was supposed to be formally welcomed into the family as the guardian co-parent of the children, a ceremony to legitimize her position. Hye-jin's laugh was bitter. "The elders arranged it. Mr. Choi was supposed to publicly accept the arrangement 2 weeks ago." Amara's stomach dropped. "He agreed to that?" "He had no choice. In families like this, personal feelings are irrelevant. The business always comes first. His brother's death left gaps in critical partnerships. Miss Ji-woo's family controls shipping routes the Choi's need. Her formal integration into the family was the obvious solution." "That's insane. That's survival." Hee-jin met her eyes. "You should understand what you've walked into. This isn't a normal household. The Choi family's business operates in spaces most people don't want to know about. Import-export. Yes, but also information brokerage, political influence, money that moves through channels that don't appear on any official records. Mr. Hyun-shik was being groomed to take over the entire operation. His death wasn't an accident, no matter what the police report says." "You think Ji-woo killed him?" "I think Miss Ji-woo wanted what he could give her. When he started having doubts about bringing her deeper into the family business, when he began asking questions about her background and her family's connections, he became inconvenient. 3 days later, brake failure on a mountain road. He and his wife both died. Very tragic, very convenient. Amara's hands were cold. The children were supposed to be in that car. SEO Yon had a school event. Last-minute schedule change. Some people call that luck. Mr. Choi calls it the only reason he hasn't burned the entire family business to the ground. Does he have proof? He's been gathering it for 6 months, living overseas, pretending to grieve, building a case while the elders tried to push him into accepting Miss Jiwoo as permanent family. Then 3 months ago he came home, but not as himself. Hye-jin's smile was thin. The family thought he was still in Busan. They had no idea their youngest son was driving their cars and watching their hired killer plan her next move. Why not just expose her immediately? Because in this world, accusations without ironclad evidence are career suicide. Miss Jiwoo's father has connections to people who make problems disappear. Mr. Choi needed time, documentation, recordings, a case so airtight that even the elders couldn't ignore it. And now he has to present it all, in 3 days, in front of 200 witnesses, during the ancestral ceremony when the entire family is gathered and bound by tradition to witness and judge fairly. And either the family will support him or they'll sacrifice him to maintain their business alliances. Hye-jin's hands trembled as she set down her cup. You should take those children and leave before this becomes a war. He asked me to stay. I know, but you don't understand what that means. The people Miss Jiwoo works with don't accept defeat gracefully. If Mr. Choi exposes her, he exposes their entire operation. They'll come for him. For the children. For anyone who helped him. Then they'll have to come through me, too. Hye-jin studied her for a long moment. You're either very brave or very stupid. Can't I be both? Despite everything, the older woman smiled. I see why he trusts you. The next 2 days were controlled chaos. Dae-jung moved through the house like a hurricane, shedding his driver disguise and reclaiming his position. Staff members who'd ignored or dismissed him suddenly found themselves taking direct orders. Security teams appeared, thorough and professional, sweeping the entire property for surveillance devices. They found 7. Miss Jiwoo was more thorough than I expected, Dae-jung said, examining the tiny camera that had been hidden in the children's playroom. She was documenting everything, building her own case, probably, insurance, in case things went wrong. What was she planning? Amara asked. They were in his office, a room she hadn't known existed until yesterday, hidden behind a bookshelf in the library. Screens covered one wall, showing security footage from every angle of the property. The other walls held maps, documents, photographs connected by red string like something from a crime drama. Depends on which plan we're talking about. He pointed to a cluster of photos. Plan A was integration. Become the official co-guardian. Gain legal authority over the children, slowly edge me out of the business while positioning herself as the devoted family member holding everything together. 5 years from now, she'd control everything. And Plan B? If I refused to accept her authority or started asking too many questions, the children would have accidents. Starting with Ji-ah, the youngest, easiest to make disappear, then Min-jun, then Seo-yeon. 3 tragic deaths over 18 months. Grief-stricken uncle throws himself into work in Busan, never returns. Miss Ji-woo ends up managing the estate, accessing the children's trust funds, and maintaining her family's business connections without the complication of actual heirs. Amara felt sick. You can prove this? I can prove she discussed it, multiple times, with 3 different people. He pulled up an audio file. This is from 7 weeks ago, her phone call with someone she calls Uncle Sang-min. Listen. He played it. Ji-woo's voice was cold, businesslike. The youngest is the priority. She's small, fragile. A drowning would be believable. The pool, maybe, or the lake. Make it look like the nanny was negligent. That solves two problems at once, a male voice responded. And if Choi returns before the timeline is complete? Then we accelerate. All three at once if necessary. A house fire, carbon monoxide, something that looks like tragic misfortune, not murder. The family will be devastated, but they'll move forward. They always do. Business is business. Amara's hands were shaking. That's evidence of conspiracy to commit murder, along with the financial records showing she's been stealing from their trust funds, the communications with my brother's business rivals, and the forensic analysis of his car that proves the brake line was cut. Dae-jung closed the file. I have enough to bury her and everyone working with her, but I need to present it correctly, in front of witnesses who matter, at a moment when the family can't afford to sweep it under the rug. The memorial dinner. Exactly. 200 family members and associates, traditional ceremony, business partners from 6 countries. The elders can't make this disappear without destroying their own credibility and violating sacred family protocols. He turned to look at her, which is why the next 3 days are critical. Miss Ji-woo knows I have something. She's cornered, desperate, and desperate people make catastrophically bad decisions. You think she'll try something? I know she will. The question is what and when. He pulled up another screen, showing the exterior of the property. I've tripled security. No one gets in or out without biometric clearance. The children don't leave the house for any reason. You stay with them at all times. If anything feels wrong, even slightly wrong, you use this. He handed her a small device that looked like a key fob. Press the button twice. My security team responds immediately. Don't hesitate, don't second-guess yourself. These people have killed before, and they'll kill again without blinking. Amara took the device, feeling the weight of it in her palm. What about you? I'll be visible, busy, playing the grieving brother preparing for a memorial he can barely face. Let Miss Ji-woo and her people think I'm distracted, emotional, vulnerable. His smile was sharp. I've been undercover for 6 months. I can play a role for 3 more days. That afternoon, Amara found Seo-yeon in the library, reading a book about Marie Curie. She discovered radioactivity, Seo-yeon said without looking up. Everyone told her she couldn't do it because she was a woman. She did it anyway. Then she died from radiation poisoning because nobody understood how dangerous it was. She closed the book. Do you think being brave means dying for what you believe in? I think being brave means choosing to fight even when you're terrified. Are you terrified? Yes. Good. Uncle Dae-jung is terrified too. I can tell. He's good at hiding it, but I notice things. Miss Ji-woo used to say I notice too much, that it's why nobody likes me. Seo-yeon's voice was matter-of-fact, but Amara heard the pain underneath. Do you think Uncle Dae-jung will die like Marie Curie? Because he's fighting something dangerous? Amara sat down next to her. Your uncle is smart, careful, and he has a lot of people protecting him, including you. I'm 9. How can I protect anyone? By being exactly who you are, by watching, by noticing things, by being brave enough to speak up when something is wrong. Amara touched her shoulder gently. You already protected your brother and sister. You got them out of that library when Miss Ji-woo attacked. That took courage. I was scared. That's what made it brave. Seo-yeon was quiet for a moment. Then, if something happens to Uncle Dae-jung, what happens to us? Nothing is going to happen to him. But if it does, if Miss Ji-woo wins, what then? Amara met her eyes. Then I make sure you're safe, all 3 of you, no matter what. You promise? I promise. The night before the memorial dinner, Amara couldn't sleep. She checked on the children 3 times. Seo-yeon sleeping with a book on her chest. Min-jun sprawled across his bed like he'd been dropped from a height. Jia curled around her favorite stuffed rabbit, finally peaceful. At 2 in the morning, she went downstairs for water and found Dae-jung in the kitchen, staring at a cup of tea he clearly had no intention of drinking. "Can't sleep either?" she asked. "Sleep is for people who aren't orchestrating the public destruction of a criminal conspiracy." Catchy slogan. His smile was brief. "Tomorrow is going to be chaos. The family arrives at 10. The memorial ceremony begins at 2. Traditional ancestral rites first. Offerings, prayers, formal remembrance. Then dinner at 4. I have a 7-minute window during the closing remarks when everyone will be seated and bound by ceremonial protocol to remain silent and attentive. That's when I present the evidence. 7 minutes to destroy a woman's life. 7 minutes to save 3 children's lives. The math works for me." He finally looked at her. "You could still leave, I'd understand. This isn't your fight." The moment I grabbed that bookend, it became my fight. She dropped it before you could grab her wrist. Details. Amara poured her own tea. "Why did you really come back? To this house, undercover?" "Because my brother called me. 3 days before he died. At 4 in the morning, Busan time. He was drunk, which was unusual. Scared, which was unprecedented. He said he'd made a mistake. That Jiwoo wasn't who she pretended to be. That he'd found documents, communications, evidence of something that could destroy the entire family. He was going to confront her. Go to the elders. Expose everything." Dae-jung's hands tightened around his cup. "I told him to be careful, to wait until I could come home and help him, to not do anything rash. But he didn't wait. He died the next day with his wife, almost with his children. And I realized the family wasn't going to investigate. They were going to bury it, move forward, integrate Jiwoo deeper because business is business, and blood only matters when it's profitable." His voice was hollow. "So I came home, not as myself, as someone invisible, someone who could watch and learn and document without anyone noticing. Because if I couldn't save my brother, I could at least save his children." "You did save them." "Not yet. Tomorrow decides that. If the family supports me, the children are safe. If they choose business over justice." He trailed off. "I have contingency plans, passports, money in accounts the family can't access, a private plane on standby. If things go wrong tomorrow, I disappear with those kids and we never come back." "You'd walk away from everything?" "I'd burn everything to the ground if it meant they were safe." He met her eyes. "You should know that. Should understand what you're standing next to. I'm not a good man, Amara. I've done things that would horrify you. My family's business isn't clean, and neither are my hands. But those children are innocent, and I will protect them with everything I have, even if it destroys me in the process. Then I guess we're both willing to burn for them." "Why? You barely know them." "I know enough. I know Seo-yeon reads Marie Curie and worries about being too smart. I know Minjun asks 1,000 questions because he's desperate for someone to actually listen. I know Jia stopped talking because the adults in her life made her feel like her words didn't matter." Amara's voice cracked. "I know what it feels like to be a kid nobody protects. To be scared and small and convinced you're alone. I won't let that happen to them. Not while I'm breathing." The silence stretched between them, heavy with shared understanding. "Thank you," Dae-jung said finally, "for staying, for caring, for being willing to fight. Thank you for letting me." He stood, moved toward the door, then paused. "Tomorrow, stay close to the children. Don't let them out of your sight. If anything happens, if you see anything suspicious, get them to the safe room. Hyejin will show you where it is. Lock the door and don't open it for anyone except me. Understand?" "Understood." "And Amara, if I don't make it out of tomorrow intact, if something goes wrong and I can't protect them anymore, He pulled an envelope from his pocket. This has everything you need. Custody documents naming you as their guardian, account numbers, contacts, instructions. Take them somewhere safe and don't look back. She stared at the envelope. You really think it might go that badly? I think I'm about to declare war on people who've killed for less. I think I'm betting everything on 7 minutes, and the hope that my family has more conscience than business sense. I think the odds aren't great. His smile was sad. But they're the only odds those kids have. So tomorrow I roll the dice, and we find out if the universe has any sense of justice, or if we're all just playing parts in someone else's tragedy. That's bleak. That's realistic. He handed her the envelope. But I'm still hoping for the miracle, just preparing for the massacre. He left. Amara stood in the kitchen holding the envelope, wondering what kind of man plans for his own death while fighting to save his family. The kind who's already lost too much, she realized. The kind who has nothing left to lose except the people he loves. The kind who will burn the whole world down rather than watch those people suffer. She tucked the envelope into her jacket and went back upstairs to check on the children one more time. Tomorrow was going to change everything. Tomorrow they'd find out if love and evidence were enough to beat money and power. Tomorrow Dae-jung would either save his family or destroy it trying. And Amara would be standing right beside him when it all... She had no idea what was coming. The ceremony began with traditional rites. Incense burned. Prayers were spoken in Korean, ancient words honoring the dead. Dae-jung stood at the front, performing each ritual with precise reverence. Then came the closing remarks. This was the moment when the eldest family member would speak about continuing the family legacy, about unity and strength in the face of loss. Dae-jung's uncle stood, preparing to speak. Actually, Dae-jung said, his voice carrying through the silent hall, I have something that needs to be addressed first, something my brother would have wanted exposed, something that cannot wait another day. The uncle paused, frowning. Dae-jung, this is not the time. This is exactly the time, when we're all gathered, when we're bound by sacred protocol to bear witness truthfully, when my brother's spirit can hear the truth finally spoken. He pulled out a remote. I'm sorry to disrupt the ceremony, but my brother died trying to expose a traitor in our family. The least I can do is finish what he started. He pressed the button. The screens mounted on the walls flickered to life. Audio filled the room, Ji-woo's voice cold and calculating. The youngest is the priority. She's small, fragile. A drowning would be believable. The hall erupted. On the screens, documents appeared, financial records, wire transfers, communications about selling family secrets, and photographs, Ji-woo with the car, tools in hand, the brake line clearly visible. What is this? Someone shouted. Ji-woo's face had gone white as paper. This is fabricated, a manipulation. Dae-jung has lost his mind with grief. I have 6 months of evidence. His voice cut through the chaos like steel. Surveillance footage, recorded conversations, financial forensics. Testimony from 3 of her accomplices who chose cooperation over prison. Everything you're seeing is verified and documented. You're destroying this family, Ji-woo hissed, standing. Our business relationships, our reputation. For what? Some paranoid fantasy? For the truth. My brother called me 3 days before he died. He discovered you were working with our competitors, selling information, planning to eliminate anyone who got in your way. He was going to expose you. Dae-jung's voice never rose, but it filled every corner of the hall. 2 days later, his brakes failed. He and his wife died. His 3 children nearly died with them. Convenient, tragic, and completely orchestrated by the woman standing in front of my brother's memorial portrait, pretending to mourn him. The silence was absolute. His uncle studied the screens, his expression hardening with each passing second. The other elders conferred urgently. The guests watched, transfixed. Finally, the uncle spoke. These are serious accusations. If proven true, they are true. Every word, every document, every recording. Dai-jung's gaze swept the room. My brother died trying to protect this family from her. I won't dishonor his memory by letting his murderer stand here, pretending to grieve while planning to kill his children. The children were never in danger, Ji-woo said desperately. I was trying to help them, provide stability after their loss. You plan to drown Jia in the pool, make it look like the nanny's negligence. Your words, recorded 7 weeks ago. He played another clip, Ji-woo's voice discussing logistics with clinical detachment. You stole from their trust funds, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You sold family business secrets to our competitors for personal profit, and you murdered my brother when he discovered what you were. Ji-woo lunged toward the screens as if she could destroy the evidence. Security, real security, not house staff, moved to intercept her. You've destroyed everything, she spat at Dai-jung. Your future, your family's business, all of it, for 3 worthless children who are nothing but... Choose your next words very carefully, Dai-jung said quietly, and something in his tone made everyone in the room go still. Because they'll be your last in this family. His uncle raised his hand for silence. If this evidence is authentic, and I assume it is given the witnesses present, then Miss Ji-woo has committed unforgivable crimes against this family. She will be removed immediately and handed to the authorities. The children's guardianship remains with Dai-jung, with full family support and resources. And if I want more than that, Dai-jung asked, such as changes, real changes. My brother died because we make alliances with people like her, criminals hiding behind legitimate business, because we prioritize profit over people, over family, over basic human decency. His voice hardened. I want that to end. I want us to be better than what got my brother killed, or I take those children and walk away, permanently. You would abandon your family, your birthright, for them? In a heartbeat. They're my family now. Everything else is negotiable. The uncle studied him for a long moment, and something like respect flickered across his face. You've become dangerous, nephew. Principled enough to mean your threats, strong enough to follow through. He nodded slowly. We'll discuss restructuring. The children stay with you with whatever support you need, and the family protects its own, even when that means protecting them from ourselves. Security escorted Ji-woo out, her screaming protests fading as she disappeared from view. The hall slowly settled, shocked murmurs replacing the chaos. Dae-jung walked directly to where Amara sat with the children. He knelt in front of them, and they launched themselves at him simultaneously. For several moments he just held them, whispering promises and apologies. Then he stood, helping each child up, and turned to face the gathered family. There's one more thing, he said, his voice carrying across the hall. Something that can't wait. He took Amara's hand, pulling her gently to her feet. Her heart stopped. This woman, Dae-jung said, saved my brother's children when no one else would. She stood between them and danger without hesitation. She chose to stay when leaving would have been safer, smarter, easier. She gave them hope when they had none. She gave them protection when they were vulnerable. And she gave me something I never expected to find again, a reason to believe in love. Amara's breath caught. What are you doing? Something I should have done the moment I realized I couldn't imagine my life without you in it. He dropped to one knee, right there in front of 200 witnesses, and pulled a ring from his pocket. Amara Thompson, I know this is fast. I know it's unconventional. I know I'm asking you to join a family that's complicated and dangerous and currently in crisis. But these children need you. I need you. and I'm hoping you need us too." Tears burned her eyes. "Dae-jung, marry me, be their mother, be my wife, be the thing that makes this house a home instead of just a building full of broken people trying to survive." His voice cracked. "Please." The hall was silent, every eye on them. Seo-yeon grabbed Amara's other hand. "Please say yes. We need you." Min-jun nodded frantically. "You're already family. This just makes it official." Jia whispered, "Please don't leave us." Amara looked at the three children, so hopeful and scared and precious. Then at Dae-jung, this man who'd burned his life down to save them, who'd just asked her to build something new from the ashes. "Yes," she said, her voice breaking. "Yes, I'll marry you." The relief on his face was devastating. He stood, sliding the ring onto her finger, then kissed her like they weren't standing in front of his entire family, like nothing else in the world mattered except this moment. When they pulled apart, the hall erupted in applause. His uncle stepped forward, a rare smile on his stern face. "It seems this day of mourning has become a day of new beginnings. The family approves this union. Welcome, Ms. Thompson. May you bring light to this house the way you've brought light to these children." The other elders nodded their agreement, and suddenly Amara was surrounded by people offering congratulations and blessings in Korean and English. But she only had eyes for the three children clinging to her and the man who'd just promised her a future neither of them had expected to find. "Thank you," Dae-jung whispered against her hair, "for saying yes, for staying, for loving us. Thank you for asking." She pulled back to meet his eyes. "Though you could have warned me. I would have worn better shoes." His laugh was bright and genuine. "Where's the fun in that? You're impossible. You're marrying me anyway. Apparently, I have terrible judgment. The best judgment." He kissed her again, quick and sweet. "The absolute best." Around them, the family began to shift from memorial to celebration. Tables were rearranged, food was brought out. What had started as a somber gathering transformed into something that felt like hope. Months later, Amara would look back on this day as the moment everything changed. The day a man destroyed a murderer to save three children. The day she became part of a family she'd never expected to find. The day love proved stronger than money, power, and all the darkness that had tried to destroy them. But in the moment, she simply held the hands of three children and stood beside the man she loved, watching the sun set over a house that was finally becoming a home. They'd survived the war. They'd found each other in the wreckage. And now, together, they were building something beautiful from the ruins. "Are you ready for this?" Dae-jung asked quietly, watching the family celebrate around them. "For joining this complicated, messy, occasionally dangerous family?" "Are you kidding? I grabbed a woman's wrist when she tried to brain a kid with a bookend. I'm pretty sure I was ready for anything the moment I took this job." "Fair point." He pulled her closer. "I love you. I love you too. All of you." She looked at the children. "Every single impossible, wonderful one of you." Seo-yeon smiled, genuine and bright. "We love you too." Min-jun bounced on his toes. "Does this mean you're staying forever?" "Forever and ever," Amara promised. Jia tugged on her sleeve, and when Amara knelt down, the little girl whispered, "Ioma?" Amara's heart cracked wide open. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm your Ioma now." "Good," Jia said simply, and hugged her tight. Dae-jung gathered all of them into his arms, this makeshift family they'd created from trauma and courage and love strong enough to survive anything. Outside, the world continued spinning. Business would resume, threats would emerge, life would be complicated and sometimes dangerous. But inside this circle of 5 people, holding each other as the sun set, there was only peace, safety, the absolute certainty that they'd found exactly what they needed in each other. They'd survived the fire. Now came the best part, learning to thrive in the light they'd fought so hard to reach. Together, always together. If this story had you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, smash that like button and subscribe for more intense stories that prove love and courage can triumph over even the darkest evil. Drop a comment below. Would you have had the courage to stay like Amara did? Would you have fought for those children? Let us know your thoughts. And hit that notification bell so you never miss our next incredible upload. Until next time, remember, sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. Stay safe out there. I'm pretty sure I was ready for anything the moment I took this job. Fair point. He pulled her closer. I love you. I love you too. All of you. She looked at the children. Every single impossible, wonderful one of you. Seo-yeon smiled, genuine and bright. We love you too. Minjun bounced on his toes. Does this mean you're staying forever? Forever and ever, Amara promised. Gia tugged on her sleeve, and when Amara knelt down, the little girl whispered, "Ialma?" Amara's heart cracked wide open. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm your Ialma now." "Good," Gia said simply, and hugged her tight. Daejong gathered all of them into his arms, this makeshift family they'd created from trauma and courage and love strong enough to survive anything. Outside, the world continued spinning. Business would resume, threats would emerge, life would be complicated and sometimes dangerous. But inside this circle of 5 people, holding each other as the sun set, there was only peace, safety, the absolute certainty that they'd found exactly what they needed in each other. They'd survived the fire. Now came the best part, learning to thrive in the light they'd fought so hard to reach. Together. Always together. If this story had you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end, smash that like button and subscribe for more intense stories that prove love and courage can triumph over even the darkest evil. Drop a comment below. Would you have had the courage to stay like Amara did? Would you have fought for those children? Let us know your thoughts. And hit that notification bell so you never miss our next incredible upload. Until next time, remember, sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. Stay safe out there.